So let's talk about hidden potential. What do we mean by hidden potential? Now, imagine that there's an artist, the most wonderful master artist that there can be, right? And he has all the amazing tools that he needs, all the fantastic brushes, colors, paints, the most beautiful canvas. And he's given the task of creating a masterpiece, right? What is he going to do? He's going to paint something that he's familiar with. So suppose he's always been in a very dry, arid sort of an environment in a village. He's never seen the outside world. So no matter how great the artist is, if he's going to paint a landscape, that's the landscape that will appeal to him, come to his mind, and that's what he will paint, right? Now, what if we give this artist a bunch of photographs of the most beautiful mountains, lakes, rivers, beaches from the entire world? We give him all of these large photographs and then we ask him to paint his masterpiece. Now he has some ideas, right? So his mind is stimulated and he's able to go beyond the realm of his own environment, right? And that's what we mean by hidden potential. Our brains are like this master artist. So when a baby is born, our brains, what it starts to do is that it starts to pick and choose which abilities it should retain in our minds and which abilities it should get rid of, right? And when you are in a certain environment without any extra stimulation, the brain gets sort of restricted to think in that sort of realm, in that constraint. With little bit of stimulation, with just 5 minutes of effort, as we say in our prodigy framework and at Raising Superstars, with just 5 minutes of effort, what we do is we introduce these sort of other elements that stimulates our brains, our baby's brain, for them to go beyond just what they were born with in the environment, in the genes that they have, go beyond that and stimulate those aspects which are hidden inside, which are unconscious. And that's what we mean by awakening your baby's hidden potential and their unconscious genius. So the next question that we are going to answer is what we really mean when we say prodigy baby, and do we really want our babies to be a prodigy? So let's think about it. So Einstein once said that if you judge a fish by its ability to fly, you would leave the fish feeling stupid all its life, right? Isn't it? Now, every baby is born with a lot of confidence, a huge, tremendous learning capacity, and unlimited abilities. And we have repeated it again and again, right? Every baby has potential which is more than any other person who has ever lived on planet Earth. They can be a great sports person, they can be a great musician, a great actor, they could really be an amazing scientist, they could be an artist, anything that they really want, right? And better than any other person who has lived in the entire history of planet Earth. However, what happens is that it's as a society, as parents, when we start forcing our babies to do things in a certain manner, to do things what we want our babies to do, it sort of shatters their confidence. It makes them believe that they don't have the ability to do things that they actually can. And that is the first step that we want to avoid. So what we want to do is we want our babies to have the freedom to explore a lot of different things and genuinely understand what is their interest, what they like to do, what is it that they are innately good at. Innately meaning they're naturally born talent in that particular field. And that is what we really want to do when we say we want our babies to be a prodigy. So let me give you an example. Every baby is born with the ability to be mobile from day one, right? So they have the ability to crawl on day one. And there are literally videos on YouTube that you can search where it shows that babies are able to crawl up to a mother's belly to be able to get milk, right? Babies have that ability, but in today's world, most babies start crawling at not before 7 to 8 months. And why is that? The reason is that in today's world, what we have started doing is we have started putting babies in cots, we have started straddling them, all sorts of things which make our lives as parents more convenient, but it constrains the baby, right? And when we constrain the baby loses the confidence that it has the power to be able to move, right? And very soon when they have lost this power, when they have lost the confidence that they don't do it until they are older and maybe around 7 to 8 months of age. However, if we allow them that freedom, if we let our babies be just as nature intended them to be, babies will be able to show you that they have the ability, they have the confidence, and that they can be mobile. And it applies to every other field. So whether it's languages, whether it's the ability to be creative, whether it's the ability to do math, whether it's the ability to talk, all sorts of things. Babies have an enormous amount of ability and confidence, and we as parents, it's our duty to be able to ignite their potential by making them discover what their true potential is. So I hope this makes sense. What we say at Raising Superstars is that we don't want to force our babies to learn the 20 things that we are very passionate about as parents. What we say is that we give them hundreds of opportunities, and it's better that our babies learn 70 out of those 100 rather than 20 out of all 20 that we want them to learn. And when they start learning all of these things, all of the different kinds of things that are available, that are possible, that's when our babies discover their own true potential, their own hidden talent, and then they start generating interest, they started generating expertise in that particular field, and that's how the prodigy is awakened, and that's how our babies are going to be whoever they want to be and not subscribe to what we want them to be. So let's talk about the first 2 years of our baby's lives. Why are the first 2 years so important? So man is the most dominant species on this planet, right? We have been around as the human race. We've been around for nearly 200,000 years. And we have grown to become the most dominant, the smartest, the fittest sort of species on this earth, right? But if you think about the human baby is born underdeveloped, right? So when they are born, they are helpless, they're vulnerable, they can't see properly, their eyes have not developed, their ears have not developed, so they can't hear very well. They cannot really do much. They can't communicate, they can't speak, they are not so mobile. They are basically underdeveloped. So if they were in their mother's womb for longer, they would possibly develop more and would be more independent when they come out into the world. So what is the reason that the human baby is underdeveloped, and what are the implications of it? The reason is simply that if the baby was in the mother's womb for longer, then it would become too big and the mother's back, the spinal cord would start bending, right? And if it started to bend, then we would not be able to walk on two limbs. So human race is the only species on this planet Earth that can have the straight back and can walk on just two legs, right? And for this to be possible, the baby needs to come out of the mother's womb little bit underdeveloped. When the baby is born helpless, what happens is that they must have a super fast learning capacity. They must have the ability to learn and grow and develop very fast for the human race, for all of us as a species to be able to survive, right? Because if they were weak and if they continued to be weak for a very long time, then there would be a lot of dangers and risk that they would get exposed to, and the human race, human species itself would not survive. So the baby being born helpless and vulnerable forces them to be able to learn very fast for the race to survive. And that is why we say that the first 2 years of a baby's life is very, very important, because that is the age where they have this almost extraordinary, miraculous ability to learn, to grasp things, to develop, and to grow very, very fast. And whatever they learn in these 2 months or 2 years, they'll hold with them for life. They develop their abilities, they enhance and awaken all of their hidden potential in these 2 years, and it stays with them for a lifetime. Of course, we go into much more details about this concept, the science, the theory, the evolution, all of the aspects of it in our Prodigy Framework course. So if you want to check out more information on this, you can click on the link below. We'll post the link, and you can of course sign up for that program where we'll go into much more depth about how babies learn and grow and develop.